All right, folks, we are back, and you know what time it is, man. It's Evo. It's that time of year. There's a patch coming out. There's a lot of excitement happening. We don't have the full patch notes yet. I do want to just point that out real fast. We'll almost certainly get some kind of information on when we might expect those tomorrow. Speaking of which, I mean, actually I say tomorrow. Tomorrow for you, for me, today for you guys. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that I'm live right now because I am going to be live for 12 hours on Saturday. Watching all of pools, watching top 24, watching the top 8, watching the announcements, Wilnas trailers happening. So, if you want, you can certainly go over there and hang out. But right now, I want to talk about what we do know about the patch coming with Wilnas, starting with some leaked character changes that we've gotten from a bunch of the sort of top players that have been going out, trying out the demo. Wilnas is playable, and also the new patch that he's in is playable as well. So people have been leaking some stuff, and I mean, you saw it in the thumbnail probably. You see it right here. Zane saying he needs a new main. Zane, best Grimnir in the world, if you are unfamiliar. Here we are, man. Grimnir is one of our hot topics for today. At the very least, 214U wall bounce is gone, and I can find it here too. Yeah, his stationary tornado leaves a lot quicker. Now, it very well may not be the full extent of everything they've changed about Grimnir. In fact, it probably isn't. A lot of more, I do want to, preface this at the start too, a lot of more subtle things, whether they're compensation buffs or other nerfs to any character, they don't get a really long time to sit there and examine every little thing in these demo booths, to my understanding, right? So say, for example, something got made a little bit more minus on block, something got, its frame data slightly changed, its hurt box shifted, stuff like that. Stuff that can be very impactful. Very well, new combo rats have been unlocked by some new change or something. Stuff like that is probably not going to get found in the limited time they get to test things there before they got to go to their pools matches and shit like that. So take this with a grain of salt. Some things might be a little bit misinterpreted. Some things like this not wall bouncing anymore, that's obviously just true, right? It's hard to get that one wrong. But yeah, some things might be misinterpreted, some things are probably missed. It's probably not the entire patch. It's almost certainly not the entire notes, right? But with that in mind, 214U doesn't wall bounce anymore, this right here. Now, why is this a big deal? Because this is a big deal. It's a big deal for a couple of reasons. One of Grimnir's sort of go-to mid-screen combos, right, was doing stuff like this, right, auto combo or whatever, starter if you were close, into that H-Tornado, into this, and then you can extend, however it is you might like, Grimnir shenanigans from there. The Grimnirs can do it better than I can, or even if you don't want to spend the double U skill, right, you could always just have, done the Tornado into 214U, into, whatever ender it is that you were interested in. That's kind of like his bread and butter mid-screen, and he got a refund off of it too, right? The way the tornado hit them up here meant that this was a raw 214U hitting. So it cost him less meter, he could chain multiple U skills in the combo. It was a very nice bit of mid-screen he's got. That's just gone now. That he straight up just can't do this anymore, because it just kind of launches and does not wall bounce. I will say, quick note on this, I believe someone put it in somewhere where there's a lot going on, but I believe that they did make this. I've missed it now, but I believe they made this safe on block. Someone somewhere had posted this, but I believe that Grimnir, this 214U, which makes sense, right? This 214U, while it's -6 right now, and it gives you a full combo on hit, in the new patch, it's going to be -4. It's going to be safe on block, but he gets a lot less reward, right? So this becomes much more of something like Seox's Eureka currently is, right? If you don't know, Seox has this U skill right here, right? Very similarly, safe on block, -4 and outside of throw range. And if it hits, he doesn't get a combo. But it's like a quick, full screen or near full screen, in Grimnir's case, full screen. Punish tool that he can use to call you out for something close and distance, right? Catch you slipping. It's not as good as Grimnir's 214U, but it still has its uses. This is going to become probably the role of Grimnir 214U in that sense too, but it hurts his mid-screen. Don't get it twisted, right? As well, this, right, when you see 236H, 4H, what we're talking about is you do Grimnir's EX Fireball, and then you hit back, and you get this right here. This stationary tornado, I'm not sure entirely by how much. People are just saying that it leaves quicker. Zane right here as well says it goes away a lot quicker. I saw someone somewhere said it feels like it's about a second instead of 2 seconds. If you look right now, the frame meter down here, this is lasting for 119 frames, those orange frames there, aka about 2 seconds. It seems like maybe got cut in half. This is another very big deal. One, because it means that Grimnir is going to have a much harder time just kind of placing this tornado down and camping behind behind it to, like, set up his seals and get his win condition going. And even more importantly, Grim did a lot of very nasty stuff with this tornado in the corner, right? Where he would set this up, he'd dance around a little bit, then if he got this overhead, he could combo off of it. I can't time it, but if he got a throw, it's a very tight window as it is currently to set this and then run up, get the throw, and get a combo off of it. He can do it. I'm ass, unfortunately. But, if it's tight as it is right now, any amount of reduction to this, that should do it, maybe? Yeah, there you go, right? Any amount of reduction to that amount of time that it stays out means this is just completely impossible now. So Grim setting up Tornado in the corner into throw combos, or even, this should still be possible, but you have to go right away, basically. Setting up Tornado into corner into any kind of, like, high-low shenaniganry is either completely dead or significantly less viable as well, right? This is one of the strongest things that Grim could do with this Tornado, and it's going to be a lot harder for him to get anything like that done, as well as making it a lot harder to camp behind these, it in the neutral right here, right? So, I doubt that this is the full extent of Grimnir's changes. There may be more nerfs, there may be even some slight compensation buffs, who knows, right? But I do want to stress that even just these two is already kind of a big deal, right? Because now, if Grimnir, with this in mind, assuming those are the only two things that change about him positively or negatively, Grim's mid-screen becomes a little grim, if you'll allow me, in that he's gonna have to spend, like, he basically will he'll have to do something like this, which is highly uninspiring, right? If he has seals up, then he's still fine, right? Then he can still do his Grimnir shit, right? And he's still gonna get, like, full screen carry and all of that. But if he doesn't already have the seals up, which again might be a little harder to do in neutral, now that this is a lot less of a reliable thing to camp behind, right? If he doesn't have the seals up, though, it's either gonna be like auto combo into some bullshit like this, or he's going to have to Raging Strike, Raging Chain into 2-2U into the extensions from there, right? Now, it's not like it's like, oh, boo-hoo, poor Grimnir. What is he gonna do? I think he'll still be fine, but having to spend a Brave point for your mid-screen, that's not good mid-screen, right? Like that, I would officially classify that, Grimnir or otherwise, I would classify that as, that is not good mid-screen. Plain and simple. Brave points are an incredibly important resource, and if you have to spend them just to get, like, any kind of real conversion in the mid-screen off these hits, then you're in trouble, right? So that's a big hit to his mid-screen, it's a big hit to his corner pressure. Now, Grim still has the seals, and it seems, nothing obvious has been touched about the seals. Zane or someone else certainly would have found that if that's the case. So, like, he's still got all this. He's still gonna be fine. I don't think this is like, Grimnir is getting neared, he's going to McDonald's. Far from it. But this does kind of make Grim into much more of he's much more reliant on the seals in the mid-screen to be the beast that he currently is. As well, it kind of relegates him much more to, like, being a demon in the corner and making his situation in the mid-screen a lot worse, right? Now, again, there might be more changes, but even just off of this, pretty significant hits to Grimnir there. And that's not all, man. That's not all. We have Percival changes as well. I don't know what this is, man. I don't know what this is. But yeah, Percival, the only thing that I've seen so far that's been changed about Percival, and honestly, the only thing that I think needs to be changed about Percival, shout out to Viram right here, you can now BC Percival's Flame Carpet. It gives a counter hit BC as well. He still maintains his on-block and whiff advantage. Now, you might notice it gives a counter hit BC too. This means that there is no change to counter hit BC, right? If Viram is still calling it out as like a hard knockdown counter hit BC, that means that counter hit BC still does exactly what it currently does in this patch, in the Wilnas patch. So if you were hoping that they would change counter hit BC, I got bad news for you. I do have good news though, in that this Percival Flame Carpet. So the way it works currently, right, is if I let me get Percival on the player side. We can get both Percivals on here. The way it works currently is that you can only BC this on the last hit. So I'm going to record this because the bot won't BC properly otherwise. But normally right now, if I set this Percy to block this and BC, right? Because you can only BC on the second hit, Percy is always safe as long as he tries to call it out. He can always just down back and your BC gets blocked, you're plus, or he's plus, and you're burning in the Flame Carpet, right? Now you can BC it on that first hit, which means you can, always get the counter hit BC, and always get the BC, and it's a counter hit too. So it's going to be a full-on, like, hard knockdown, right? It's going to be like a hard knockdown like this, so you could try and get some Oki on him or whatever. Very powerful situation. Post counter hit BC, as we all know. So that's good, I will say. One thing I'm uncertain about. Where is it? Someone else, yeah. So this is Tororo, right? This is translated by Grok, so take this with a grain of salt. They got me to make a Twitter account for all this shit finally, but Yu Anzunden, this is Flame Carpet, guarantees guard cancel counter, right? The thing I'm curious about is that, while yes, it was pretty silly that this was just never Brave counterable, there was a second part of Flame Carpet that was very strong and very uninteractable, and that was that a lot of the times, quite easily in fact, Percival could space Flame Carpet out in such a way that he was just outside of Brave counter distance anyway, right? So, like his hurt box here, it extends during Flame Carpet, certainly, right? Now, with allowing you, you'll notice the hurt box does retract here near the end, right? So with allowing you to BC early on, I think this is going to solve the problem. Because if you notice right here, right? So, for a little bit, this hurt box extends outwards. That's decent enough. Brave counter's got a pretty big hitbox to it. If you can BC during this point, I don't think you can space it out anymore, right? The problem is, usually, you would have to wait until it was all the way done and see how his hurt box tracks like that. So that's why he could be out of BC range so easily. I think now that you can BC it earlier, you can probably get him while that hurt box is extended. But that's still the question mark for me. Because I will say, it's very, very nice and always should have been a thing. This should not have just been BC safe all the time. But I also would really like it to be BCable all of the time, no matter how well Percy spaces this shit out, basically. Unless he does something like that, where if I turn HP recovery off for the Percy bot here, there are places where, like, you know, he spaced it out so far that, like, you're not even standing in the flames necessarily. That's not quite it yet, right? If he wants to, like, put it out in front of me like this, yes, you hear Percy's not even burning. If you look at his health bar, if he wants to be outside of Brave counter range there, and I get to sit outside of the flames, then fair, right? But from any point where he's going to put it down, and I'm going to be sitting in the flames after, I would like it to be Brave counterable. And it's possible that even with no hurt box extension, just allowing you to Brave counter this in the first hit is going to be a big deal, right? It's gonna make it so you can guaranteed get that Brave counter, that hard knockdown Brave counter every time. But that's the one thing that I'm still waiting to see. And honestly, I don't think I need anything else nerfed on Percival. Flame Carpet was just a bit of an outlier move. He's strong, but it really is this thing that's the problem, and how uninteractable it was. And by the way, don't get it twisted. If this move becomes like, I'm going to spend 32.5 meter to guarantee to get a Brave point out of you in most situations, you know what we call that in the business? That's a fucking good move still, right? Because 32 meter is not as valuable as 1 Brave point, right? So that is still a very favorable trade for Percival. It's just, the opponent gets an option, right? They can be like, all right, do I want to spend the Brave counter to get out of this? And it becomes a bit of a, you know, he puts you in a tough, and it gives you a tough decision. But you have a decision. And you have interaction, instead of, fuck you, no matter what, you're holding this, right? So that's a great nerf. The move isn't terrible now, but it's certainly a lot worse, and it's much more interactable, which is, I just want interaction, man. Even if it's Percy favored interaction, just give me interaction, right? So Percy gets his Flame Carpet nerfed as well, which is a big deal, right? It's a big deal. Rialzo's got a couple of things for us here. This is the fucking weird thing, right? We could talk about Avatar Belial, because as from what I'm seeing currently, Avatar Belial is the biggest loser of this patch? Now, don't get me wrong, I've gone on record for a while now since the Versuja patch, since this patch time slot last year. I've gone on record saying I think Avatar isn't great, but I think he's a little better than a character like him should be. Because he is a very toxic just design of character, and while he's not great at competitive level play, he certainly can be a real scourge in like your S ranks, your S plus ranks, your A ranks, stuff like that, right? So I'm not like, oh my god, why did they nerf Avatar? It's more like, I have to imagine Avatar is pretty low on the priority list, right? We'll talk about that in a second. So, we see Rialzo talking about Stomp has a lot of pushback. Proteus right here saying Avatar Belial got gutted. L Fireball launches horizontally on hit, and on crouching confirming no longer gets an auto combo off packed follow-up. And I believe one other person mentioned something about Avatar Belial. Someone else mentioned that Belial's H Fireball launches too. Someone mentioned that his H Fireball also launches. Let me go see if I can find. Oh, don't mind, I'm an idiot. It's right here. It's in the same exact Rialzo tweet. I'm stupid. It's 3 a.m. Okay, you got a 236H puts you into the air on last hit, right? So what's happening here? 236 is his Fireball, right? So what people are saying is that now Avatar's Light Fireball launches on hit. The last hit of his H Fireball launches on hit. And his Stomp follow-up, which is this 8U packed follow-up, has much more pushback on hit as well. Why is this catastrophic, right? Why is this a really big problem? Well, if you don't know how Avatar Belial gets down, one of the big things that Avatar Belial currently does is crouching confirms are incredibly nice for this guy. For multiple reasons. One, he can do this, well, primarily actually. He does his little Light Fireball into the Stomp follow-up, and you'll notice he's +5. He has a 5-frame close out, right? So Avatar gets very, very good conversions off crouch because he does things like this. 1, 2, 3, and then I get to keep going, right? So I did all of that comboing before I even launched you. right? All of this, right? So far, Percy's still on the ground. Now I'll launch him, right? But he spent that entire time on the ground. And it makes Avatar's, HDP, ignore the HDP there, but it makes his mid-screen very, very good when he gets a crouch to confirm, and you may be familiar with the Suicide Able 66H. Now, what's nice about Able 66H is it forces crouching as well, right? So again, off any point, if Able ever got this, guess what? Right? He gets this full extension here as well, right? And in the corner, you would even do things, if you were really just trying to cash out every last little bit of HP you had for the kill as Able, you could do things like this, right? Bonk, bonk, 1, 2, right? All the way down here, 1, 2, 3, into the H1, into another auto combo. We're at 6k damage. Percival hasn't even left the ground, right? So this is where Able got those incredibly high damage cash out combos that you see very often, right? After that, you would Raging Strike, SSBA, and it's like over 11,000 damage on 3 Brave points. These nerfs destroy this combo in 3 different ways. They fucked up his sandwich 5 times. It's crazy, right? Because this launching now means that you can't, if they're already in the air, I'll show you actually. I like to show and not tell. We can show with the Rekka here. If they're already in the air, right? And I try to do like that, combo ends, right? So light fireball launching, I no longer get my stomp extension. Also, even if I did get my stomp extension, they're saying the stomp has so much pushback. I think Tororo mentioned in a little bit more specificity. I believe Tororo mentioned that. I could have sworn I saw this somewhere. Someone mentioned that it has so much. It has the pushback is such that he does not get auto combo anymore. Yeah, he doesn't get auto combo after, right? So like where right now he's left in close L range, he wouldn't be. Now, the problem with this is he's only +5. So you might be like, okay, well, he might get like far L, right? He might get like far L into this. He doesn't have the frame data for that. The only thing that works is he is close L. He's only +5. He's not +6. He has no extra leeway there, right? So if he's outside of auto combo range, he just can never get that. So why this matters, by the way, why this isn't just a double nerf, is Able can do things like this, right? Which also leaves him in that exact same position, right? He goes stomp follow-up, he's +5, he gets the close L. So even with this launching, you might be like, okay, well, maybe I can just still get my throw bait combo on Able. Nope, you're outside of auto combo range. So you don't get that anymore either, right? And then heavy launching also means that even, heavy, this is less important, it's probably the least important one, but in these, like, huge cash-out combos where you're just gonna be like, I don't care about my health, I'm dumping everything to kill you, you can't even use heavy anymore in that same way, it'll just launch, right? So, every single combo that Avatar Belial does has been nerfed significantly. I guess besides just his, like, some, like, standing auto combo confirm here where he does this, the kind of, like, the normal, like, kind of Able carry BMB, right? This is the same. Everything else that this guy ever does got nerfed. And not just nerfed, man. It got nerfed. Give me my Gogeta music back. It got nerfed significantly, man. So, like, I get fuck Able and the horse he rode in on, I guess. The one thing with me, right? The one thing that's interesting about this to me, besides the fact that Able, who is considered pretty weak in North America and even weaker in Japan, got gutted harder, as far as I can tell, he got gutted harder than Grimnir, Percival, any of the top tiers that we're going to talk about in a second, too. It's also, I feel like unless the Japanese community was just kind of clamoring and complaining about Able in ways that I just didn't hear about, which again, he's viewed pretty weak in Japan by top players, and while yes, he's more of a menace at casual, a lot of, like, casual intermediate players kind of defer to what the top players say, and they use them as a mouthpiece, right? They just kind of copy their opinion and move on. So, the fact that Able's getting touched this hard, this is not confirmed or anything, it makes me think this patch could be pretty sizable, right? Because if we're nerfing Avatar Belial, even nerfing or buffing, just touching him in any way, shape, or form, there has to be, like, at least a double-digit amount of characters that, in general, are higher priority to do something about. Whether it's to nerf them, whether it's to buff them, whether it's to bug fix them, whatever the fuck, right? So if we got all the way to this guy in this patch, either it's like a small patch where Avatar is one of, like, 5 characters changed, in which case I would consider that to be incredibly strange decision-making on Cygame's part, or again, this is I will say, this is not going to be anywhere near the size of the Rasuja patch. I just want to let you know that right now. That patch was gigantic, and it's amazing the game came out of it in a good state, right? So I don't expect it to be that big. I would hope it's bigger than the Galleon patch by a sizable margin, and this is my only hint that makes me think maybe it is. Why is Able being changed? Why is Able being changed? That's got to be pretty low down on the list, right? Anyway, that's not all. That's not all. We're not done with Avatar Belial here. Well, we're done with Avatar, but yeah, Avatar Belial, Grimnir nerfs, right? Avatar Belial got shot. We have a little bit of stuff from Toro here. This is a big one too. Ferry, El Gesh, this is Grok fucking it up. Gespenst. You may, if you've been around for a long time, you may remember in patch 1.5, the Versuja patch, this time slot last year, they gave Ferry a little something called this. And you may have been victimized by this at some point in your life of you made one mistake on a Ferry in the corner, right? You got far-elled into that, and now you're in the corner and she gets the entire screen to work with again, right? That doesn't happen anymore. This just doesn't sideswap. This is a gigantic nerf, right? Again, I know I keep saying gigantic, but all of the changes people have found are the big ones, right? Like the ones people will find in like their little 15, 20-minute grind sessions on the demo cabinets are gonna be the big changes. This is a huge nerf. This was the best thing they've like maybe ever given Ferry, besides like the one frame, maybe the one frame increase on Far L, but like this is the biggest buff that Ferry like ever received over the course of the game's lifespan, and it's just they just reverted it. Now, I'm not surprised to see this, because again, Japan, by and large, thinks that Ferry is like the 5th best character in the game at worst. She won Evo Japan. I think she's good, by the way. I think it's that's a little overblown. I think it's quite a lot overblown. I think Metera, for example, is stronger than her. I don't even think Metera is a top 5 character. But, you know, Ferry is quite maligned in Japan. Kasu Usagi won Evo Japan, and he's been terrorizing people ever since in their dreams, I guess. This is a pretty big nerf to Ferry. I don't know necessarily that I wanted Ferry nerfed at all, but even if you were gonna do it, this is a mean nerf to take this away, right? Now again, I'll keep stressing, this might not be her entire patch. There might be other nerfs even. There might even be some small compensation buffs, who knows? This is a really big deal to take away from her, right? That hurts. That hurts. Other thing, this is Soriz's H623H. I was asking for this yesterday, actually. Like, on my stream yesterday, when I did a first attend in a discussion with Greg, I was doing ringside. And we were talking about this move, and I was like, I need this shit to be mine, because right now this is -7. Right? This move is -7 as it stands, and it just makes it needlessly belligerent in a lot of cases. I mean, characters without 7-frame mediums, which is a sizable chunk of the cast, they just couldn't punish this at all. And even characters with 7-frame mediums, if they're not like really good 7-frame mediums, like a Catalina 2M or something like that, a lot of the times at this spacing, a lot of 7-frame mediums might not even connect, right? Soriz is a pretty solid 2M as well, right? So I'm a big fan of this thing being -8. It just makes it a lot more punishable, a lot more of the time. This move is incredibly belligerent, and now it's got a little bit more risk associated with it. Everyone whose name isn't Uno is going to have, maybe Zeta as well, but I think everyone whose name isn't Uno is going to have a very consistent way to punish Soriz big time for this now, right? And if you've got like an 8-frame Far H or something, like your Grimnirs and Seoxes of the world, then you're eating even better, right? So not a big nerf to Soriz or anything like that, but this was the only thing that I personally would have wanted to see changed on Soriz. I think he's very good, but like, it's okay. He's not good in like a incredibly toxic way or anything like that. This move's a little stupid. So I'm glad, like, that one frame change, I'm honestly very surprised that Toro found this. This is the exact kind of thing that I was just saying earlier. You wouldn't really expect people to find in this little demo thing, but I guess Toro is just, he's built fucking different, right? So yeah, Soriz changed. Also, I mean, Toro mentions Sieg, Sandalphon, Kag, Bubs. So I guess these are the 7 characters he tried in the time that he had. No changes at first glance, but again, very possible that this is not the case, right? Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know that I'm expecting these, like, Bubs already got buffed, so I can't imagine he's going to get nerfed or buffed again or something like that. I don't know that I'm expecting that much for these 3, but maybe, right? Toro could very well be wrong. My goats could be wrong, right? And then I believe, is that everything? That might be... Oh, yeah, Metera. Oh yeah, there's a couple things still. Yeah. So Metera changes, right? This is Monarch, again, best Metera in the world, up there at the very least. And he tried out some Metera on the demo boost. 623U, this is Metera's UDP, leaves the opponent much closer than before. This is pretty nice, man. I don't know if you've ever fought a Metera, but Metera is, her DP is very demoralizing to get hit by, I'll tell you that for free, right? Because it does... as of right now, it does this, right? Sends you to literally full screen. Now, I don't know if you have ever fought a Metera before. This sucks, right? So, much closer than before. I assume she's going to, like, the trade-off here is, you know, she's not going to get her amazing zoning, but she probably will get, like, a safe jump off of it now, right? Though Metera has a pretty floaty jump arc, right? So she's probably going to get a safe... Well, actually, I don't know how Metera's going to do this, because her hop... Maybe... I'm not sure, actually, if she's going to be able to get a safe jump, because her jump is very, very floaty, and her hop is a little too fast, but This might just be a nerf, honestly, overall. But this, I don't know that this DP was a problem in my head. There's only really one problem with Metera, which I don't think has been addressed enough. We'll talk about that in a second. But, it's still nice. Something to make defense, Metera's defense a little bit worse. You're noticing a pattern here, right, with Ferry and Metera. They're trying to make their lose conditions a little worse for them, right? Ferry, the Elgish Bench side swap, one of the biggest things about it is that it made Ferry's defense incredibly rewarding because she wouldn't do a lot of damage, but she would far L into L whip grab into side swap, and then she get the whole screen to play with again, right? So that was very, very rewarding for a zoner. They took that away, right? Once again, Metera would hit you with this DP, she'd get the whole screen to play with again, right? You have to make your way back in. Very rewarding, right? So they're trying to give the zoners, I guess, have their defense be a real weakness, have their lose conditions be worse for them. It's a reasonable place to go, right? We'll see how it pans out in the full patch. Besides that, 6xh increased pushback on block. This is a good thing. This is a buff for Metera, I think, right? Because this thing is always safe on block anyway. But increased pushback on block, I don't know how much we're talking. It's already pushes pretty far, right? So this is just going to send. Is this going to send you damn near to full screen, right? This already pushes you pretty damn. It's like a half screen push, right? So that's a buff to Metera. She can, it gives her a use for her 6xh, right? So it's a slow, committal way, but for her to just get a lot of screen space back on you, I guess, right? So that move was basically never used, so getting a buff, I don't mind, right? And then maybes. He's not sure. Again, they didn't get that much time to test, right? Take it with a grain of salt. 623L, right? This is her light rain of arrows, right? Seems different. Can't tell if it's the initial startup or the arrow rain speed, so something about this. I'm not sure if it seems different in terms of worse or better or what. Maybe some mild changes to it, I'm not sure. And then 22U damage scaling seems higher. Keyword seems, right? So 22U, this is the move. Flame. I mentioned on Percy, I don't really think I want Percy nerfed except for Flame Carpet. I don't even know that I want Metera nerfed except for this move. This move to me is even more egregious than Flame Carpet. And seems higher? Damage scaling seems higher? So maybe it's 6xl, or maybe it starts on the second hit or the third hit of the combo instead of the first hit or something. But seems higher means it can't be that significant, right? I don't know, man. I would have wanted a little bit more out of that. We'll see. Now, there might be more changes. Again, there might be frame data changes to this, recovery changes to this, something like that. That they, Monarch may not have noticed immediately. They might be relatively, a little bit smaller, a little bit more insidious, something, right? Maybe I don't know. Now, I'm coping because I think stuff like that, it feels like a massive recovery change or something, which is what this move needs to be touched in a big way. This doesn't need to be mildly nerfed, right? So I'm coping because Monarch of all people would probably figure out if they added 15 frames of recovery to this or something. But I sure hope that the only thing that's got changed about this move wasn't that the recover or the damage scaling seems a little higher, right? I would hope there's a little more done to this thing, because as of right now, this is just, I talked about Flame Carpet, the problem with it being that it's kind of uninteractive. This move is entirely uninteractive. There's almost nothing you can do about this except down back and hold it. You can't roll it, you can't spot dodge it, doesn't go away on hit, it doesn't go away on block. There's nothing you can do except die or let Metera feed you a shit ton of chip damage, right? So that's worrying. So that's the first big to me, alright? But we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. Yeah, Zane. Zane is not happy. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Is this all the Nears? The Nears telling him welcome to the club? That's really, really funny. And then the only buff that I've heard talked about in this whole thing, Insurgent right here. Ogre Cap Enjoyer, I think. I think that's Ogre Cap, based as hell. Eustace changes on the Evo build. I'll check more tomorrow. 214x into M causes air recovery. 214x into L launches on counter hits. And you can follow up with far L or H with 2M, right? These are big buffs to Eustace. Not gigantic. These are nice. Eustace got some buffs, and I don't think Eustace is very good personally. So I'm okay with that. But the thing with it, right? If you don't know what 214 is, it's this, right? Whether it's the M version, the H version, or the L version, which doesn't have the attack there. The M follow-up out of that command dash is this low. Now, why is it doing air recovery better? Well, you can see right here, right? People, when they grounded recover, they can choose to recover backwards, and good players will basically always be doing this. There's no downsides to recovering backwards against recovering in place. There's no extra frames or anything like that, right? So this puts you really far away. Whereas air techs, does Eustace have something that air techs people? Actually, probably I guess if it's Raging Strike and then auto combo, you can probably see it, right? When people air tech, right, you see that? It's a canned animation. It's forced. You can't like not do it, and it just kind of flips you down in front of him, right? A good example of a difference here that I want to show you. Ladivok has a pretty good way to illustrate the difference here. If I do like bonk, 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 and then I far M into EX Lariat, they recover backwards and they're way further away from me, and I can't really get pressure, right? Versus if I do something like this, and then I light Lariat, they air tech, they end up way closer to me, and I actually can 6XL them, right? This is the same kind of reason why this is nice for Eustace. After he gets this low, you're going to be forced to recover into his face, and he's going to get much better Oki on you, right? Right now, Eustace is fast enough, he can already, like, 6XL you down here. But honestly, with the air tech, who knows, man? Maybe he can get shit like this. You know, I'm not sure. The Eustace will lab it out. All 4 Eustace will lab it out, and they'll discover some stupid shit. But that seems like a pretty nice thing for me. The other thing is the light version, this flashbang, now launches on counter hits, right? Now the main times you're probably ever going to counter hit with this out of the, like, this light version, or maybe, or just, you know, if you cancel. The M version, you have to do the hit first, right? You can cancel out of the H version before you do the hits, and you can also, the light version has no hits. So with the ones with no hits, that's where you might catch someone slipping, mashing, especially if you do stuff like this. You can do stuff like this into throw, right? You can get kind of tricky with this. So if he catches you mashing, delays this a little bit, and hits you, right? Well, actually, I say that. Right now, it launches on counter hit. It says launches on counter hit. This currently, it's +6. I wonder if that's a nerf, actually. The M1 is definitely better, but right now, if you get a counter hit on this, I mean, what are you on this? +5? Ah, okay. So for 214L, this is a buff. Well, is he always in? He should be. Yeah, depending on the range, it might be a little finicky, I guess, because right now you can get close L off of that, which certainly feels better than a launch. That might be a nerf, actually. This one might be a nerf. I didn't lab out in advance what it currently did on counter hit. Yeah, because I mean, right now he gets close L, which is I mean, no. I know I'm flip-flopping a lot. I'm sorry, but Eustace can do like when the opponent is launched, right? Eustace can do a lot more interesting stuff. He gets a lot more carry. He gets like his DP loops, stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly what this is gonna look like. I'm gonna hold off judgment on this one. This might be a little bit of 3 AM and also, you know, not being as familiar with Eustace, but I know that Eustace does get, you know, more interesting combos a lot of the time when the opponent's already midair. So we'll see, right? In fact, he can follow up with 2M on the H version as well. I'm not sure how to feel about that one, but this causing air recovery, I would say, is a pretty big buff to that boy, right? That's a pretty big buff to that boy. This one, I'm not sure. Following up L with far L or H with 2M, I'm not sure about that, right? Eustace has changed in this sense. I'm not sure if this is a buff or a nerf yet. It kind of depends on what combo routes this opens up for him they couldn't do before. But my gut tells me that, you know, opponent being on the ground into, like, you know, like grounded auto combo starter is probably better, right? Because at the very least, I say that. I mean, because again, Eustace on grounded auto combo, he gets basically nothing unless he raging strikes to launch people. And then once he launches people, he gets to do funny stuff with the DP loops and shit. So I don't know. I mean, though again, the DP loops require the H version. I'm gonna hold off judgment on that one until we see what the Eustace actually are able to do with it in game. But Eustace is changed. There's also, yeah, the Sajam Umas right there. We'll talk about EX characters and Wilnas in a separate video. But yeah, that I believe is everything that I found anyway. Perhaps people are they're talking about other stuff. People have found more fixes. I'm not sure. They will. Yeah, there you go. Ferry nerf. And yeah, Realza says he didn't notice any changes for Cat Sieg, Anila, or Seox, which is interesting. I'll tell you right now, this character is going to be a war criminal, right? This one right here. If Grimnir is getting nerfed, oh, no one's mentioned, I will say, big thing as well, things that we are not hearing right now, which are very conspicuous. BSG doesn't mention anything about Vasaraga. So that character might be exactly the same, right? Again, Catalina might be exactly the same. Notably, no one has said anything about 6XL or Brave counter changes. So, seems like, as far as a big system mechanic change on that sense, it might not exist, right? These are kind of things that aren't here. Now, they might be, but like, you know, I would expect BSG to be able to tell if Vasaraga was changed, right? He's an incredibly good Vasaraga. I would expect, you know, just pro players like this to be able to tell if 6XL was different, right? If it had more recovery or, if, you know, if it had more startup or stuff like that. I mean, hard knockdown Brave counter, with Viram saying that you get a counter hit BC here, like this is basically confirming that counter hit BC still is the same thing. So who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. We gotta wait for the full patch notes. Yeah, so counter hit BC is still a thing. Yeah, exactly. Add Ferry to Ubabusame, that's funny. We'll see. We'll see the full patch notes, but it seems like big system mechanic changes. Maybe not, with one big exception if you count the EX characters and the control schemes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it, fellas. I mean, again, if you're watching this right now, chances are that was 35 minutes. How the fuck did I talk about like 6 tweets for 35 minutes, man? I gotta keep recording these videos. I got 2 other things to talk about. But if you're watching this right now, good odds I'm live on Twitch. Right, so go over there, hang out, watch pools, watch top 8, watch the announcements. You know, any of the other leaks as they come in, watch them live as they happen there. For now, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.